some things. Welcome to the Only Male Cruz Show, the We Own Your Head podcast. Discussing topics that make you say, how and where can we improve as a society? From a Black American's perspective. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Catch us live, be ready to speak. This is a call-in show. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, replay gang, leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Let's go to work. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Only Male Cruz Show, the podcast. We on your head podcast. All right, right now, as we speak, ain't nobody in neither space. We don't got nobody in the Twitter space, no one in the YouTube streets, but that's okay. Replay gang, you know what to do. Leave a comment. You know I want to hear from you. Listen, I don't know what to tell y'all. I got to keep doing this, okay? This has to happen. We have to finish this book. We have to continue to go through the book. And if you look at everything going on just every week, everything that Dr. Claud Anderson has highlighted in his book, everything he's highlighted, everything that the current events keep showing, hey, we should have listened to Dr. Claud Anderson. So my question is, can we listen to Dr. Claud Anderson now? And if we can listen to him now, will that have an impact? Can we execute and implement the things that Dr. Claud Anderson has been telling us in both Black Labor, White Wealth and this PowerNomics book? Can we execute these things and come out ahead, come out a sustaining force, come out greater as opposed to lesser? You feel what I'm saying? With that being said, y'all, we're still in chapter 2. And man, I just got up this morning. I said, I got to do this and I need to do it before I have to do everything else that I got on my calendar for today. But we're really focusing in on ethno-aggregation. And I'm going to be honest with you, the way Dr. Claud Anderson broke this thing down, this is not rocket science. And not only is it not rocket science, everybody else is doing it. Everybody else is doing it, y'all. So shout out to the folks in the YouTube street. If you're interested in pulling up on the stage, you're more than welcome to do so. Just say, hey, Mel, drop the link, and I'll be happy to do that. I don't even want to pretty much recap too much what we covered in the previous ones. The videos are up. Be sure to check them out. Hit the like button. But let's just go ahead and get into it. We're on page 43 if you have the book. PowerNomics, the National Plan to Empower Black America by Dr. Claud Anderson. The PowerNomics vision is a Black America that is politically and economically self-sufficient and competitive by the year 2005. So we know we're working with some outdated activities on our behalf. You feel what I'm saying? Okay. The PowerNomics Group vision is crafted to do a number of things. First, it is called the PowerNomics vision to lock into Black America's mind a concept that defines a solution for our racial predicament. We need economic power. This newly coined phrase and vision will keep us from wandering back into the pursuit of limited social goals. Secondly, this vision is very specific. It tells us what we are seeking: political and economic self-sufficiency and competitiveness. Any acts or issues that do not result in greater ownership and control of economic and political resources for Black Americans do not fit the PowerNomics template and should be given a low priority. Third, the group vision sets a timetable, the year 2005. This is a short but workable timetable if we commit ourselves to the task. Any shorter period is unrealistic. Any longer period, and we would be much too far into a permanent underclass status for any actions to make a real difference. Stop, hold the press. That's the question. This book was copywritten in 2001. Dr. Claud Anderson's goal, his game plan, his objective was that we could be a sustainable, competitive ethnic group or group of people by 2005. He just said here, a shorter period is unrealistic, but any longer period, which is where we're at now, any longer period, and we would be much too far into a permanent underclass status for any actions to make a real difference. So I wish I had some people. I wish I had some people up in the space today, because here's the question. So what should we do? Should we stop fighting? Do we just stop? Do we give up? Do we just go on and, what do we do? Shout out to the folks in the, oh yes, shout out to the Twitter spaces. Hey, let me just take this back. Wait, hold on. Let me just shout out, we got Viral Drip in the Twitter space. Viral, I want to ask you to come on up if you don't mind, sir. I'm going to throw a mic over here to you. And then Miss D, I'm actually going to ask you to come up as well, because Dr. Claud Anderson has set this thing up, y'all, where we got a question on the table right now. Okay. And the question is, what Dr. Claud Anderson has said was, we can have PowerNomics for our group, for Black Americans. We can have it. The book was copywritten in 2001. He's saying that we could have self-sufficiency and competitiveness by the year 2005. He's also stated that if we set, let me read it again. It says, PowerNomics should be given a low priority. Third, the group vision sets a timetable, the year 2005. This is a short but workable timetable if we commit ourselves to the task. Any shorter period is unrealistic. Any longer period, and we would be much too far into a permanent underclass status for any actions to make a real difference. So, Miss D, thank you for pulling up and accepting the co-host with me. I appreciate it. Did you hear what I just said? And what are your thoughts about that? What can we work now, or should we just give up now?
Can you repeat it one more time? Because
Sure.
this thing was whistling. This thing is whistling in my ear.
Sure. Happy
I'm
to do
turning
it.
it off right now.
Okay. So what it says is, okay, so this book, PowerNomics, copywritten in 2001, and Dr. Claud Anderson's game plan is we could be self-sufficient and competitive by 2005. So what he's saying here is that the group vision sets a timetable, which is the year 2005. This is a short but workable timetable if we commit ourselves to the task. Any shorter period is unrealistic. So if the game plan was 2005, and we said, we can do this in 2002, and the book was copywritten in 2001, he's saying any shorter time period is unrealistic. But then he says any longer period, and we would be much too far into a permanent underclass status for any actions to make a real difference. So now my question is, what do we do? Because we're in the longer period of this thing. So do we just stop? What do we do? What's your thoughts, Ms. D?
I don't think that I understand everything he's saying and the calculation. I don't think we can give up and should give up.
Right.
But I do think that the only way we're going to catch up is reparations. Other than that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm looking at things happening in Houston, and just found out that a friend of mine's parents has had to move to another side of town in another environment that they are not used to because it's being gentrified, and not only is it being gentrified, the people that own the property, and a lot of them are black people that own the property, is selling out, is selling the property and displacing all these elderly people. And they way up in age and they couldn't find anything in their Social Security, in their Social Security amount to live on the South Side. So they had to move to a whole different side of town. Wow. So I'm definitely looking at all this. And we're the only people that's being disheveled. And the reason why we're the only people being disheveled, one reason is we're the only class of people that don't live with each other.
Absolutely. Ooh, Miss D, girl, thank you for, girl, listen, thank you for pulling up this morning and agreeing to co-host with me. Thank you, because you're right. And that sounds like what you described sounds like a setup. It sounds like, hey, we're going to entice the group of people who are earning money and could really utilize this increase, and so we'll entice them with some good pricing, get them to sell, and settle somewhere else, and then we'll just leave the senior citizens who are on a fixed income. Sorry about y'all luck. y'all should have did better in life. So, you know what I mean? And that's pitiful. It's pitiful. And you're right. That's a problem. That's the only reason why that can happen, is because we don't do what we're supposed to do. But let me keep reading. Thank you so much. Okay, so the PowerNomics vision is offered as a beginning point, but Black America is free to use it as a guide and build on it as required. The PowerNomics vision reduces confusion about issues and makes it more difficult to mislead the group into focusing time and resources on symbolism rather than substance. The PowerNomics vision, founded on empowerment culture, prioritizes and directs our energy and resources into activities that result in Black people becoming more self-sufficient and competitive. There are many examples of activities that are at odds with Black empowerment, such as including Blacks in the concept of minority. For example, major American corporations are again pushing Congress to increase the immigration quota on the number of highly trained foreign nationals who could immigrate into this country to fill high-tech jobs. This practice has a direct impact on Black Americans. Trained in their country of origin, these immigrants represent a free ride for American corporations. They do not have to pay for training of the immigrants, and they would also avoid paying taxes to educate undereducated Americans, especially Black Americans, for these high-tech jobs. They do not feel any political obligation to hire Black Americans, even though there are also many Black scientists and engineers already qualified for these high-tech positions. Have mercy. He goes on to say, he goes on to say, and again, this is 2001. Let's just keep that in the forefront of our mind. This is 2001. They've been using immigration as a way in which to manage. And initially, immigration being used to manage our country and make sure we're thriving as a country, even while we were enslaved and going through Jim Crow. It worked for the benefit of the country. But now it appears as though immigration is really being used to essentially displace and erase Black Americans. Dr. Claud Anderson goes on to say a group of Black engineers, physicists, and other scientists formed a coalition to fight corporate efforts to bring in more immigrants over Blacks. These immigrants are rarely, if ever, from a Black country. Unfortunately, the coalition of Black engineers and physicists made the mistake of framing the issue as a minority issue rather than a Black issue. The group solicited support from the Congressional Black Caucus. The response from the CBC was to ask that measures be taken to boost minority employment. The response of the White House further misfocused the issue. Rather than aiding the Black scientists and engineers, the White House recommended legislation to provide training programs to all Americans, with a special emphasis on minorities, women, poor students, and the disabled. These black engineers got what they asked for. The immigrating technical workers are non-black minorities, and that, or therein, lies the problem. Folks don't want to say the word black. Shout out to Sean Davy Wade Show. I love you too, Sean Davy Wade. Thanks for pulling up. Appreciate you. But therein lies the problem. We won't say black like we can't say black. Blackity black, black, black. Hello, somebody. What are your thoughts on that, Miss D? What you think about that thus far?
Well, like you said, they've been weaponizing immigration against us, especially black men. They've been weaponizing everything against black men, even us.
Yes.
And they've been weaponizing us against them. And it's been going on for so long till it's so out of control now. I really don't know how we're going to be able to reel it in.
Right, girl. Exactly.
Especially now since they done opened up the borders and that's
yeah. And well, you know what? And sis, you saying something, girl. You saying something on a good Sunday morning. And that, that is Sunday and folks are trying to be in church, whatever. Listen, this is important. And the thing about it is we could look at current politicians. Shout out to Brandon up there in, Mayor of Chicago. Here, you're black and you are in our face, not wanting to do anything for the citizens, the black American citizens of the city of Chicago. So yeah, we're really between a rock and a hard place, and I think a good portion of it comes from, for the example that Dr. Claud Anderson gave, is these engineers and physicists and scientists should have been very, very, very specific, because we do know mostly everyone knows about the sound clip from Kamala Harris that said, "I'm not going to do anything specifically for black people. No, I'm not going to do
it." Also, they all got the dog whistle from Biden when he said, "You all better work with the Mexicans."
Ooh-wee.
That's the dog whistle there.
Ooh-wee. Trying to told you. So we can no longer just say, "Hey, can you help us out?" And the other thing we've got to really understand is that they are throwing everything into whatever our argument as black Americans is. They discard it, and then they get another group of people that they wish to support, and they use our argument to support other people. So it's not that our argument isn't any good. And as an example, take the kneeling at these football games. Remember when Colin Kaepernick, all that kneeling and all the drama that and now y'all want to kneel for the Palestinians. So it was a disgrace when Kaepernick and others were kneeling. You ruined the man's career. You cut him short. You did all that you could. You really eurekaed that situation, and he couldn't get a job elsewhere and things of that nature. I don't have to rehearse all that and rephrase all that. We know how that went. But they vilified the entire act of kneeling when the national anthem is played, or whatever the thing is called. They vilified that. But now all of a sudden it's acceptable? I mean,
even had people fighting. Even had people fighting other people in the stands that didn't want to stand up. And
that's right.
For the national anthem.
There you go.
It was just all across the board. Just knew that it was against us.
But now all of a sudden, oh man, let's do it. Let's implement. Let's execute that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me keep on reading. Unfortunately, the Coalition of Black Engineers and Physicists made the mistake of framing the issue as a minority issue rather than a black issue. The group solicited support from the Congressional Black Caucus. Okay, I read that part. It says here they don't have to. The immigration technical workers are not. Okay, let me start here. The problem. Nobody wants to propose black solutions for black problems. Society is more comfortable recommending broad minority solutions for problems that are actually unique to black people alone. The recommendations of the Black scientists, the Congressional Black Caucus, and the White House will help Hispanics, women, and a myriad of other groups, but not one will help the Black scientists who raised the issue in the first place. Hispanics and all of the imported foreign workers will be direct competitors to Blacks because of their minority status. Requesting assistance for minorities is actually requesting assistance for competing groups. The solution fashioned did not solve the problem of Black scientists. In contrast, the PowerNomics vision is designed to give a sense of direction based on group self-interest to economically and politically empower Black people by the year 2005. So again, we talked about that, Miss D. This book was copywritten in 2001. Dr. Claud Anderson said to try to make this come together in less than 4 years, from 2001 to 2005, is unrealistic. But to take any time over 4 years, where he says here, he says any longer period, and we would be much too far into a permanent underclass status for any action to make a real difference. So what do we do? What do we do? Ms. D said, no, we don't give up. We need reparations. That will help us get up to where we could be had we implemented and executed these things that Dr. Claud Anderson said in 2001. Okay. But since we didn't, and now here we are in a further permanent underclass status, and we're seeing it every day, the way these open borders are, the way the immigration process is working. We're seeing all of the, New York and Chicago doing job fairs, education fairs, doing all these things to help advance. And in California, doing all of these things to solidify and make comfortable and just help out the illegal immigrant coming into our country. Whew. All right, let's keep reading. So the third key to empowerment is two supportive power economics paradigms that can function as windows through which Black America's view of the world is further refined. We must not underestimate the importance of having paradigms that guide us to see, think, and behave as a group based upon our own self-interest. These two paradigms are ethno-aggregation and vertical integration. They align with the PowerNomics vision for Black America and shore up the intergroup deficiencies and counter the most insidious aspects of structural racism and inappropriate behavior. These PowerNomic paradigms are very important tools in our empowerment chest. They are specifically formulated, designed, and engineered to further shape and guide Black people's behavior in the 21st century. The old civil rights paradigms no longer make sense in a competitive, pseudo-colorblind society. They are not grounded in reality. They have encouraged and prepared Blacks to compromise rather than to compete. Jeff Gates, in his book, Ownership Solution, helped define the role of a paradigm. He stated the word paradigm came from the Greek word for pattern, and it was used by Plato to describe a basic form or image encompassing one's fate and fortune and determining one's destiny. In other words, paradigms are deeply held assumptions or values that operate like models, templates, or patterns. They shape what we see in a culture and racial context. In practical applications, using the PowerNomics vision and paradigms is comparable to dressmaking. The process begins with the dressmaker's vision of the garment he or she wants to create. In the vision, it is clear whether the garment will be a dress or a blouse. After the dressmaker has decided on the nature of the garment, he or she needs a pattern or paradigm to ensure that the pieces cut for the garment are identical to the pattern. The pattern will determine whether the dress will be long or short, have sleeves, a gathered waist, or flared skirt. The pattern ensures that all the dresses made from the pattern are the same. Likewise, the PowerNomics paradigms will shape our group thinking and behavior, establish a consistent group mindset, and guide Black America's collective decision-making. They will reduce conflicts and establish a stage upon which we can act out our respective roles. As much as we would like to believe this nation is a melting pot and that we are indivisible, that is not and never has been the case. We are a collection of groups bound together by one national government, but we still have different histories, agendas, cultures, and needs. Black Americans remain outside the mainstream society because whiteness is non porous to blackness. Is black success totally dependent on acceptance into the white mainstream society? No, it is not. The two paradigms that follow are the next two empowerment keys. They will help Black America to own and control resources so that they can compete inside or outside of the mainstream society. Now, that was a lot, but Miss D, any thoughts on that while you're up here?
Well, just like I said, Biden did his dog whistle telling everybody when they said, you better work with the Mexicans, that was towards us. And that was to sanctuary cities,
Mm-hmm.
high sitting blacks,
Mm-hmm.
all better fall in line because not we're feeling it and gonna feel it. But I think the white people, the middle class white people, is feeling immigration as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Biden said that $13 was was above poverty level.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand how that can be. How can you think $13 is not poverty level? So that's why, and that's the reason they won't raise the minimum wage, none of that stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that get assistance, and I know we're not the ones in the majority that get the assistance,
Mm-hmm.
but the ones that do get it and need it, that's why when they work, that's why when they work and have to turn in their paperwork, they get thrown off or denied or stuff get lowered. It's because he got the poverty level not to be $13.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that that's something.
Well, and you're absolutely right on that. And the issue is, and if y'all don't mind, please share the space out. But
I did already.
no, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But yeah, that's definitely what the game plan is, which is to keep us in a between a rock and a hard place, essentially. The issue, the one of the bigger issues, though, is the fact that you want to claim that $13 is a family sustainable wage, okay, when it's not. But yet the amount of money that you're sending over to these other countries well exceeds what their family sustainable wages would be. And that's even if those families are even getting pieces of it, because there's so many of them coming over here to this country. They're not there to take advantage of any of the resources that we are sending over there. So it's really rocking a hard place. Um, and $13 an hour is great when you've got all of these other subsidies supplementing one's ability to live, like rental assistance and paying for education so that these people can go and get better paying jobs and things of that, or even the coalition of these 400 companies, for example, in New York and Chicago. Shout out to Jason Black, who did his show on YouTube last night, where he talked about how there are 400 jobs in Chicago as well. So it's 400 employers in Chicago, and these must be national companies, because you have 400 employers in the state of Illinois, 400 employers in the state of New York. That's making me think that these are franchise organizations and big dollar companies where they have decided that they're going to set aside room and time to facilitate hiring immigrants only. 400 employers? So that's telling me that they're either bringing them in at top level wages and you only want them to have it, or you're bringing them in at low level wages because that's probably, that's more so what they would prefer. But it's okay to do that because the government is subsidizing every other piece of life responsibility. So, it's a win-win. And the government's not subsidizing it, we're subsidizing it.
No wonder when I saw that video, and the man they was bringing in buses to LA, to California, and they stated that it wasn't Abbott's buses. They made a state that these was not Abbott buses. So I don't know who buses it was, but they came in to California, and the man say, "Did y'all hear what he asked?" And he played it again. The guy he said, "Y'all can go anywhere y'all want to go." He say, "Did y'all hear what he asked?" And he asked him again. The Mexican asked him, "Can I go to California? I mean, can I go to Chicago?" No wonder he was asking to go to Chicago.
There you go. And
I just seen that video last week.
There you go. Trying to told you. So
wow.
Yeah. And the thing about it is we're reading a book copywritten in 2001. Game plan that's contained in this book was designed to be in full effect. Okay. This game plan that Dr. Claud Anderson has broken down in this book was designed to be in full effect by 2005, and he stated specifically, any time after that, we're going to be way down in the permanent underclass, way down. I got to reread this quote again because it hit me. I said, "Damn." Let me just read this. Any longer period, and we would be much too far into a permanent underclass status for any actions to make a real difference. Now, I don't disagree with a lot of things that Dr. Claud Anderson has said, but man, I hope he's wrong here. I hope he's wrong right here, because if he's not, then what are we doing? We might as well just, get us some lawn chairs and sit up there and watch all the immigrants come on through, and let's just watch them and wave at them. Whew, help us, Lord. Shout out to the people in the space. Please share the space. My YouTube channel is in the Jumbotron. If you're not subscribed, please click that link and subscribe. Turn on the notifications. If you haven't already, we want to get the conversation into the algorithm so that we can continue to have a combination of.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. I'm glad you said that.
Oh yeah, Miss D. Thank you. Yeah, it's the link is in the Jumbotron, and again, we want to get the show in the algorithm so we can continue to have intellectual discourse on what we're going to do in our current situation. So let me see now. Where was I at? I done lost my place. Talking with you, Miss D. But boy, I'm telling you, girl, you hitting on some points here. So let me see here. Yeah, mainstream society. Okay, so paradigm 1, ethno-aggregation. Ethno-aggregation is best defined as the voluntary concentration of individuals and their resources around their ethnic or language commonalities for the purpose of improving their economic and political competitiveness. The term ethno-aggregation may be new, but the concept is not. It is a behavior pattern used every day by religious, gender, ethnic, and Spanish-speaking groups. The culture of these groups emphasizes that members rally around common characteristics or attributes, aka ethno, in order to pool their collective resources, aka aggregation, and compete with non-group members. According to the PowerNomics plan, the primary purpose for the ethno-aggregation is to convert disaggregated Black individuals and groups into a national team and to concentrate their resources. The more concentrated their resources, the greater their impact and competitive advantage will be. For Black Americans, this paradigm is important because it can directly reverse past conditioning and is the antidote for Willie Lynchism, a slaveholder plan to divide and conquer Black slaves. Ethno-aggregation encourages Blacks to unify as a people as an alternative to seeking to unite with others. It encourages Blacks to pool their resources. A fist has greater impact than 5 separate fingers, but a scattered group is like separate fingers. The impact of the 5 fingers working together as a fist has an even stronger impact if directed towards the weakest part of the competitive force. An aggregated group has a competitive advantage over a group whose resources are scattered. Likewise, ethno-aggregation is most effective when the resources are organized and directed. Blacks already ethno-aggregate every time they attend all Black churches and participate in a Million Man March. In politics, we have voted as a bloc within the Republican or Democratic Party. And although we have seldom received direct benefits, our collective voting has testified to our political strength and our ability to ethno-aggregate. We must now learn to be more strategic with our ability to ethno-aggregate in politics and learn how to unite and concentrate our financial resources to achieve group economic goals, just as whites and ethnic immigrants have done for centuries. Amen to that. And we haven't, that is something we don't do. And I think every time we bring up why we as a people struggle to ethno-aggregate, except for in like going to churches, because we do that. He hit that on the nail. I mean, he hit that on the head. Or when we've previously voted all Democrat down the ticket, as they say, we've done that. But when it comes to other things, we don't do it. And I know that, that has a lot to do with the behavior patterns that Dr. Claud Anderson described previously in this book. Any thoughts on that, Ms. D? Any thoughts about it?
No, I don't have any thoughts on that because it seemed like he hit the nail on the head. Because one thing, that's 2 things for sure we gonna do is the church and the Democrats, and that's our downfall.
Yeah.
That's definitely our downfall.
And so the bigger challenge too is, how do we get this small message? Because I'm just one person, okay? But a lot of people have read this book. But how do we get this small message and get it to where we can aggregate it so that the majority of Black Americans can begin to move in accordance with this outline? That is the challenge. And that's really the question for, coming into 2024. And we about to have an election. We got work to do. All right. Examples of ethno-aggregation.
And also, the same ones that's reading that book is the same ones going to sit up in the church Sunday morning and listening at their preacher telling them to vote blue no matter who.
Ain't that it? Ain't that it? And so the question is, when are we going to change behavior? What is it going to take for us to change our behavior? Because like I said, at this point, we may as well just go and get us some good, comfortable lawn chairs, pull up to where all these buses are being pulled up in, and just pull up there and just watch it. Watch all the immigrants come in and say, "Can I help you with your bag, sir?" I mean, because what are we doing to take care of ourselves? Shout out to Evangelist Valerie, Conversations and Inspiration. Thanks for pulling up. Appreciate you so much. Be sure to hit that like button, Evangelist Val. Appreciate you, sis. Really do. All right. Examples of ethno-aggregation. Our society is replete with examples of how whites and ethnic groups aggregate for political and economic competitive advantages in the marketplace. Organizing begets group power. Before the Black Civil Rights Movement, Europeans, English, Jews, Irish, Germans, and Italians used their togetherness as a social and economic foundation. American Indians have been successful in using their ethnic image and treaty rights to hold onto reservation lands and government subsidies. In recent years, they have enjoyed windfall wealth from their approximately 257 gambling casino permits. Newly arrived ethnic and language groups aggregate their resources to build political and economic communities such as Chinatowns, Little Koreas, Little Cambodias, Little Saigons, Little Vietnams, and Little Havanas. Of all of the above, Miami's Cuban community in South Florida represents probably the most visible model of ethno-aggregation in the country. Cubans control the political and economic activities of South Florida, which has become their home turf. As they came into the country, they first rallied around their common language, characteristics, then they voluntarily aggregated into the same neighborhoods and established businesses. Next, they began to compete with non members of their group. They took control of the politics, the schools, and dominated the language. They take pride in being a closed society. They are very nationalistic and sometimes even push the rule of law. In political and economic terms, Cubans have placed a flag in the ground around Little Havana, Hialeah, and South Florida. From behind their Latin culture and Spanish language, they aggressively intervene in international affairs. They play a key role in Radio Marti, radio programming beamed directly at Cuba via satellite for the sole purpose of erasing or interfering with Cuba's regular radio broadcasting. They have flown airplanes into Cuban airspace to drop leaflets and interfere with Castro's government. They have rallied around common characteristics, pooled their resources, and improved their economic and political standing. Cubans in South Florida require those who come into their area to play their game by their rules. Within one generation, Cuban immigrants economically and politically subordinated Black Miamians and became a political challenge to whites throughout the state of Florida. All right, now, Ms. D, any thoughts on that? And shout out to the people in the YouTube channel. Sunshine, good morning to you. Thanks for pulling up. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Anybody want to come up and join this discussion? Just say, hey, Mel, drop the link. You are more than welcome to do so. Shout out to Just the T, please. Good morning, Just the T. Thank you for pulling up as well. And again, just a quick recap, we are discussing Dr. Claud Anderson, PowerNomics, the National Plan to Empower Black America. I'm telling you, y'all, book was copywritten in 2001. His game plan was for us to be, on top of the game by 2005. And we are way behind schedule when it comes to that. In the spaces, shouting out second pieces. What are your thoughts on that, Miss D?
If I heard correctly, when these people say immigrant, they ain't talking about the Black
ones. No.
Because you see what happened to them at the border.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
When they talking about immigrants and the Cubans and all them, they talking about the I'm white and I say so and I think I'm white people.
Mm-hmm. But they're talking about the ones that get to choose their nationality on their IDs and things of that nature as white. Mm-hmm. They get to choose that, and according to Dr. Claud Anderson, those ethnic groups are more desirable to be accepted into white society. So. Yeah, they got a little bit easier, but black people from different countries, no, their ability to immigrate here or just pull up here and get some level of resource or help or anything of that nature, they're not happening. Country's not letting that happen.
Because in Houston, on the side of town where they live at, they all sleeping on the ground over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and those will be the first ones that they deport once they decide, okay, now we're going to start putting people out. Those will be the first ones. Let me here's the part that really threw me. Here's the part that threw me, and let me keep on going here. Arab immigrants in and around Detroit are probably the second best example of ethno-aggregation. They began coming into this country about the same time as Cubans in the late 1960s. And like Cubans, they ethno-aggregated to such an extent that within a 30-year period, They totally subordinated blacks in selected cities and have begun to challenge the majority white society for both wealth and power. Approximately 275,000 Arabs immigrated into the Dearborn, Michigan, and Detroit areas initially. In that short time period, Arabs built the largest, wealthiest, and most powerful political base outside of the Middle East. They invest their profits to build more businesses in black communities. They almost exclusively hire their own people and refuse to buy from black businesses. Black Detroiters serve a large concentrated consumer pool that Arabs used to enrich themselves and their countries of origin. Detroit is an 82% black city. According to an article in Detroit News, Metro Edition, July 8, 1999, Arabs, who constitute less than 1% of the city's metropolitan area population, have taken control of 90% of the city's gas stations, grocery stores, party stores, discount strip malls, and medical supply businesses. According to the article, Arab businesses were so profitable last year that their owners sent $69 million back to their homelands to help Arabs who were fighting with Israel in the Middle East. This drain of capital weakened Black Detroit, but it strengthened the developing Arab communities. Come on, y'all. Come on. What are we going to do, y'all? What are we going to do? Once Arab immigrants aggregated and concentrated their resources in and around Detroit, they increasingly used their acquired economic power to obtain local political power. Arabs know that politics follows the money. In this regard, it was reported that when Al Gore, the Vice President of the United States, visited Detroit in the summer of 1999, he chose to meet with the top 100 Arab businesses, not the black political leadership. Arabs pledged heavy financial support to Gore, and in return for their financial pledges, they asked for greater business opportunities in Black Detroit. Arabs are now in the phase of ethno-aggregation, where they are beginning to use the wealth and power they acquired from blacks to politically and economically subordinate blacks. To shore up, protect, and give credibility to their ethno-aggregation, Detroit Arabs hold street festivals and encourage blacks and whites to attend. They engender pride in their own people by promoting their culture, religion, and language while masking over the economic competitiveness that they are conducting against blacks in Detroit. It is their ethno-aggregation that gives Arab immigrants their competitive advantages over Black Americans. They use their cultural togetherness to compete for economic and political resources. Even though Arabs may have religious differences with Jews and some Christians, they are still classified as whites and receive the advantage of higher levels of social acceptability than blacks. Arab immigrants use their ethnic advantages by remaining an identifiable, non-assimilated group, politically and economically linked into a national and international network. Listen, they doing the damn thing, and we just out here watching them. Otis Redding, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tides roll away. What we doing? And then we have these black representatives that do not support us and haven't been. Talking about Eric Adams, who now he's under investigation. You got Brandon. I'm waiting on them to turn on him in Chicago, the mayor of Chicago. So, and here's what I don't understand. Why do these black people do this to us? They use them as a tool to undermine us as a race, as a people. And then as soon as the dirty work is done, they turn on their ass. So what is the solution? I mean, what is there a solution? Second pieces. You always say some intellectual things.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. What do you think? How do we do this?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say I came in when
you were reading the Cuban, the part about the Cubans/Hispanics that migrated to Florida. And I just see how America basically gives these non-Black people, immigrants, it's almost like their little small new homeland outside of their real homeland that they fled from. So Cubans were given Florida. You can't even get a job there, you know, if you're a Black American, or even if you're a Black immigrant there, because I think even the Haitians there are somewhat suffering. And then I think about, as you just read, the Arabs that come here, they were basically given Dearborn, Michigan. That's like their new outpost now. And they've even, I think at this point, like with Arab American Heritage Month, which takes place every April, at my job, they were discussing during this month that they're celebrating, they were discussing how to change their identification. A lot of them don't want to be considered Arab. They want to be called MENA, or Middle East North African. And I think it's because of this economic leverage that they have that they can, you know what I mean? Sort of, make these demands. Overall, I just feel that America supports these different groups that come in, giving them their own spaces here, over us. So, yeah.
So, and that's the interesting part. And like Dr. Claud was saying here about, they do their Pride Month and their little street thing, and people are out there buying from the vendors and just, hobnobbing and, just feeling like, oh yeah, it's just so great to be so ethnically, culturally immersed into society. Oh, isn't culture wonderful? But not really recognizing the fact that these people are making more money than you. They're getting more benefits than you. And a lot of the benefits and subsidies that they're getting is coming from your tax dollar. So what they can apply for as a government subsidy and receive, you as the American citizen, Black or white, okay, you can't apply for it and receive it. You can apply, but you can't receive it, or you can apply if you're made aware of it. And there's and I hate to one size all this thing, but, there are Black and white and other, citizens here that could probably love to take advantage of one of these 400 employers that is making themselves available to these immigrant-only job fairs. Okay? But the citizens of this country they're not allowed to even participate in it. It's being prevented. They're being prevented from even applying for a job, and they probably need a job. The economy is bad. Their kids probably moved home. I mean, we all would like to take advantage of that if it's out there, but you're not. You're operating behind closed doors, and so we definitely don't want to. We don't even want to begin talking about. Let me see. Hold on, Whitney. I'm trying to get you in here. We don't even want to begin to talk about the predicament that Black Americans are in. And I think the most current discussion that's being had out here is the conversation with Black state majority about us all going into one state, or monopolizing, or I'm not even saying the words right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Where we have to control the state politically, economically, because we are the majority ethnic group in that state, so that we can create laws and things of that nature that are benefit and specific to our care and our concerns. Whitney, I see you got your hand up. You are more than welcome to speak. You got it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I've been watching clips on Twitter and YouTube and different things about what's going on with all of these illegal aliens that they're dragging into Black communities.
Right.
And it seems to me, it's like what you're saying, they're using these people to wash us out, because those 500 companies
Yeah.
that's over there in Chicago.
Yeah.
There are like 400 homeless and jobless Black people there that need those jobs.
Come on.
And they always tell us, oh, we can't do anything for you because we can't specifically do something for a specific group. But they're doing it in aces and spades now with these illegal immigrants.
Right. Right. Well,
isn't it unconstitutional?
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so. And and I appreciate what you're saying there, because that's exactly what they're doing. And we, we're between a rock and a hard place because we're just Black. We're just Black. But then you've got this narrative that they're trying to spin now that, well, Blacks are immigrants too. Oh, really? Okay, well, since everybody's playing both sides of the fence, if I'm an immigrant, then I'm about to sign up for this shit. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure I bring my phone and run that clip of that recent politician saying that we're all immigrants. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't say we're immigrants and therefore, as a result of us being immigrants like everybody else, we don't deserve anything specific to our experience with this country. But then you cut us out of every damn thing and give it all to the immigrants and say, well, y'all Black, y'all be all right. We can't do anything because y'all Black. You cannot have it both ways. But the reason why that's able to happen is because you have people like the mayor of Chicago with your Brandon guy. And you have the guy up in New York, Eric. And they're letting this shit happen.
Well, here's my thing about these Black people that are doing these horrific things to us. Eric Adams. Yeah. I think have had a revelation, as it were. Because for a minute there, a month or so ago, he was trying to walk it back, saying, oh no, we got to stop these immigrants. It's too much. They're eating up the resources from the New Yorkers and yada, yada, yada. And somebody must have got to him and shut him up, because after he said all of these things, he turned around and went back to the old way of talking. Yeah, the immigrants deserve to get help and all of this foolishness. I believe that these people that they are choosing to put in front of us to take these political positions that are Black, I think they are well chosen, well picked out individuals that have dark past. Like, they have some dirt on them. So you're going to do what I say, or we're going to expose you for the XYZ that you did or that I know you do, and you'll be shamed from the community, and you'll be shamed from employment, and you won't have any money. I think that's kind of what I'm thinking. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean,
so that's the dog whistle. That's the dog whistle that I was saying when Biden say, y'all better work with Mexicans. Anybody go against it, that's what's going to happen to you. That was the dog whistle I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I remember that. And after he finished talking that crap, cussing them out, he told them, and now we getting ready for the middle something. So y'all need to go get to work. In other words, now y'all niggas get back out there on that plantation in that field and pick that cotton and stop talking shit to me. Excuse my life.
It's all right, girl. It's all right. Hey, it'll do it to you sometime. It'll do you like that sometime.
Because where I live in Maryland, and I live in considered a suburbs. And the community that I live in, I moved here from Prince George's County to Anne Arundel County around the time Obama was in, when all of the houses were, the bank was owning all of these houses that were being foreclosed on. Okay, so I got in on that. And so when I moved here, it was lovely because it was mostly Black people. And everybody worked and everybody, place was clean and well manicured. Oh my God. In the last year, or I say last year, I have seen the influx of these people from North America, these Mexicans or whatever Venezuelans or whatever they are.
Sure.
And remember that airplane that came in from Iraq, what was that? Iraq with all those people in the airplane that was jumping on the airplane when the airplane took off, they were falling off. Do you guys remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh my goodness, I don't know how you missed that one.
Yeah,
but anyway, we have
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Okay. There you go. Well, we have some of those here too now in my neighborhood. And it seems like I'm looking around, it's thinning out more and more. And it's only like a handful of black people here. Just that quick. It was like a blink of an eye.
Well, and it makes me wonder too if in your city, if it was easier for them to just slide them right on in there in your neighborhood, as opposed to the fact that people, because even in New York, they're not really about it like that in New York the way they are in Chicago. Like when they first said, "Oh, we're going to move these immigrants into this vacant school that we shut down, wasn't doing a damn thing with," and now here, but all this time you had all these homeless citizens up under the viaducts, homeless and jobless, and nobody thought to put them in a vacant school and help them and just at least have them off the street, some level of humanitarianism. But then these immigrants, we got to care for them. And so the black citizens.
Nobody thought to do a job fair. Nobody thought to do a job fair in Chicago and pull all the black people in there and give them a job so they go to work.
But because
the black people, trust me, they want to get their ass up, work every day like everybody else.
And here's the thing: if you had done that, and now these immigrants come over, guess what? You have access to more resources, because guess what? You got more citizens working, contributing taxes as we do, to help facilitate that. But why they are intentionally allowing or just overlooking us. But here I want to make this point real quick. Especially based on what I was reading about how the Arabs came into Detroit, did the damn thing, and now they running shit. Here's the thing. When you look at this immigration situation, everybody's coming over. These black hair care stores that are owned by these Asians, listen, we got to break them before they break us. Because here's the case. They can very easily and overnight switch up who they serve, okay? Especially with all of the immigrants coming in. So while we sitting here still, and this is a shame because guess what? I need to go get my eyebrows done. And I don't know no sisters that's doing eyebrows, okay? But while we are steady going over here getting all of our hair care needs and things of that nature at these Asian-owned stores, as soon as they get ready to switch it up and say, "Oh, well, we're going to serve all the Venezuelans or serve all the other ethnicities that are coming over here in droves," guess what? They're going to be in our neighborhood like they are now, but they're not going to be serving what we need. So what are we going to sunken place that too and just watch them do that too? And that's my whole thing.
I never thought about it like that.
Yes.
So you're saying they wax rich off of us. So now what they're going to do is shun us and go and serve the newcomers and leave us without a business or a business to go to meet our needs.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, and the thing about it is that, I used to tell my friends, they break up with their boyfriend or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, but girl, he came back again last night, and he keep coming back." And, I said, listen, I tell my friends, I said, look, if y'all are broke up, keep him cut the hell off. Because y'all are broken up. You want to stay in a relationship. He doesn't. He is going to continue to come back until he is emotionally done. And when he's emotionally done with you, he won't be coming back. Won't be no more late night creep. You think because you keep letting them late night creep that, we going to get back together. It ain't how it go. And this is what I'm saying. We can apply that same analogy to these black hair care places. We continue go to them. We need to we at least need to buck up their flow for a minute, some type of way. We need to stop going to these places. But let's be honest. How many of us are willing to stop buying perm and stop buying our stuff from them? How many of us are willing to come up with our own product and sell it online? And
we
not,
need to go back to what we used to do
there you
back in the
go.
old days
Come on with
before
it.
we got so brain. Go in the kitchen and have people come to your house. Find somebody who knows how to do hair. If they don't have their own beauty shop or whatever, go to their home, pay them, and keep it moving like that.
Yeah.
That's what we need to go back to.
Well, and not only that, but just like, here's another example. The lady that created that pink sauce. That lady was doing a damn thing. Her problem was she couldn't do the distribution and actually get the product made in the quantity where, of the demand. She struggled to meet the demand. The point is that some company came in, bought her, created a contract, entered into a contract with her. So now she can't sell or move the product. She didn't get any financial remuneration from entering into the contract. So her ass is broke. She can't compete with any. So she's shit out of luck. Excuse my language on a Sunday morning, but she's shit out of
the old-fashioned way of getting black people stuff. They had her sign the contract. She did not understand.
Thank you.
And now they own her whole life,
and they ain't moving it though.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
The things that y'all talking about, people have already done. Like my beautician, when I met her, when somebody gave me her number, she was doing hair at her house. Well, her boyfriend did something low down, so she had to go and find a shop.
Right.
She had to stop doing it at her house because she had a homeowners association. So what she did was, which I thought was a smart move, and in the end, I found out she isn't very smart. What she did was, she called up everybody and told everybody what he had done, and she's looking for a shop. But in the meantime, I'm going to come by y'all house and do y'all hair so I won't lose my customers.
Right.
I thought it was awesome. We was giving her, tips for gas, everything else. She went and owned and got a shop, left that shop, got another shop. And I thought it was crazy that she didn't keep doing the coming by the house.
Right.
Why would you want to go in a shop and pay those prices?
Exactly.
When mostly everybody you do hair was on your side of town. So it wasn't like you was driving nowhere.
Come on.
Okay. So another shop. Okay. And then the same girl ended up meeting this guy. He had a lot of money. This girl started flying here, flying there, going on vacation, wasn't there doing hair. Or half-ass doing hair. When somebody tell her about, like, my tracks and came out of something, she would get so upset and so mad, like wouldn't take criticism, flying off here and there because she got the money now, till she lost everybody. And I just talked to her this morning, and she having she having a hard time, but we watched her destruct herself. We all was in the beauty shop and watched her destruct herself, which I done watched 3 of them do it.
Well,
so fast forward,
I
get another girl, young girl, coming by to braid hair. She said, "Oh, I come by. She said, I come by people's house and do hair. Girl, that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
And I'm definitely gonna give you a tip." This girl got pregnant. So I called it, and she would never answer the phone. So I asked the girl that introduced me to her. I say, "What's up with old girl? She not answering the phone." "Oh, she say she not doing hair right now because she's pregnant." I say, "So being pregnant make you not do hair?
See what I'm saying?
When you could just sit down?"
Come on. I already know.
"And braid hair?" No.
Miss D, I got to tell you,
it's unbelievable.
And what I got to tell you is,
and
that is, and if as Black Americans, if we gonna do anything, see, those are the kind of issues we got to get straightened up among ourselves. We got to tighten those kind of things up, because that's poor business.
It's too far, it's too far gone.
Mm-hmm.
They are too far gone. And I'm going to tell you how far gone they've gotten and when it happened. It happened COVID. It happened COVID. And Lil Duval put a tweet out. I've watched black people use other black people during COVID. 5 wings cost $50.
Oh, yeah.
All this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta, and to get your hair done and to get your nails done, you gotta get on the web and set an appointment. Leave a deposit.
Right.
I don't even know you. You gotta leave a deposit. And you don't get your deposit back, but when I get there on time, you don't come on time, and I don't get my deposit back.
I don't get a discount. But see,
they too far gone. They're very arrogant. These people are too far gone.
Well, here's the thing. Again, so not only are we fighting on the larger scale, not only are we fighting the Brandon Johnsons and the Eric Adamses, okay? Not only are we fighting that, but then we're also fighting among ourselves on these type of things. And just like the gentleman who, and I'm going to get back onto this, the implications for Black America here, still in this book, but just like the gentleman, I can't remember his name off the top, that was doing critiquing those restaurants in Atlanta, and got all kind of death threats and threats and things of that nature just for going out and speaking the truth about his experience at their restaurants. So again, that we got a lot of work to do as a group. We got a lot of work to do. Let me keep on going on here. Okay, the implications for Black America. And again, just to reset the room, listen, the YouTube channel is in the Jumbotron. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Please share this space out if you can. We are in Dr. Claud Anderson, PowerNomics, National Plan to Empower Black America. We're on chapter 2, and now I'm in the subsection of the implications for Black America. Arab immigrants in limited ways can be a powerful example to Blacks who have integrated out of Black neighborhoods. Arab immigrants see clearly why they ought to ethno-aggregate and remain culturally and financially connected to their own people and their own power base. Blacks, on the other hand, have been continuously weakened by events from the diaspora, slavery, Jim Crow segregation, and integration, all of which have made Blacks a scattered group. The ethno-aggregation paradigm is specifically designed to shore up weaknesses created by the involuntary and voluntary scattering of Black people. Power itself always exists in concentrated forms. The application of ethno-aggregation will create mindsets that provide incentives for Black people to learn to pull together to concentrate our power, resources, and compete with various ethnic minorities, as well as the majority monopolies identified in Chapter 1. With the mindset of ethno-aggregation, we will begin to have more control over our own fate, regardless of what the majority society decides. One way to explain ethno-aggregation is to view it as a form of voluntary separation, just like Little Italy and Greektown are separate ethnic enclaves. More specifically, ethno-aggregation signals that we as Black people have gone the full route of integration and have found it wanting. Now, we want to pull back a little to voluntarily interact with members of our own race. Actually, our greatest competitive advantage rests in being neither integrated nor forcefully segregated. Jews, American Indians, Hispanics, Asians, and Arabs have the option to assimilate, but have chosen instead to maintain separate institutions, organizations, and communities. Like them, we as Black people want the same option to have, own, and control our own institutions, organizations, and communities. And let me put the sidebar in here. But again, when we go out and ask for stuff, they say, well, we can't do nothing specifically for Black people. Our first step to group empowerment is to develop communities in which to practice ethno-aggregation. Blacks are the only group in America that do not have communities. We have residential neighborhoods, Decades of integration caused an exodus of middle and upper middle class professional blacks, the backbone of our community, into the white suburbs, thus weakening the cohesiveness of earlier black neighborhoods and making it difficult physically and psychologically to identify and amass our group resources. We are still stymied. Under racial segregation, white indifference to black communities allowed blacks to have black businesses and a sense of community, but while we could aggregate our resources, we were never allowed to use those resources to achieve a group goal or to function as a fully independent, competitive community. That's a lot. Pooling group resources. The ethno-aggregation paradigm creates a context within which blacks can come together and share. In ethno-aggregation within black communities, every individual contributes to the group's pool of resources. Individually, blacks may be poor, but even poor blacks can contribute to resources that collectively benefit individual group members as well as the group as a whole. One may have only a cupful of beans, another may have only a few strips of bacon, another only carrots. Yet, when the individual ingredients are collected, the group can make soup to feed itself or sell to others. This is the competitive advantage of a group. Black leadership, politicians, government officials, corporations, and marketing firms do a disservice to us when they support and recommend policies that disperse our resources and make us vulnerable to others as a passive consumer market. And I would say that when these immigrants come in and they put them in our neighborhoods and they give them resources over us so that now they can open up their own little ethnic store. We're in a food desert. But they got the ethnic store over there where the people got all they need. I don't know, y'all. This is not even the end of chapter 2. And, he's about to talk about a move towards voluntary separation, vertical integration versus ethno-aggregation. And that would end up wrapping up, let me see, the advantages of vertical integration, applications of vertical integration. Do our competitors profit from our horizontal orientation? He's on here. He's on the case. I don't know. It's a lot. We got a lot of work to do internally as a group, and externally as a voice that lets these people that make decisions, and actually people that claim to represent us, and then they go and out of here and get in these offices, and then they don't represent us. They do everything against us. I mean, we're just between a rock and a hard place, and we got a lot of work to do. So, IDK, any last thoughts or statements anyone wishes to make before we cut up out of here, y'all? Miss D, second chances. Whitney?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Sure can. What's up?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess my lasting words will be that I remember Dr. Claud Anderson in a video on YouTube. He was talking about how in the time of an emergency, these ethnic businesses, with, like grocery stores, other places like, oh gosh, my mind is blank. For example, he was saying that a lot of them may choose not to even serve us because they have that ability and that leverage. So I just wanted to put that out there too.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking of gas stations too, since they're mostly owned by Arabs, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. And that's a good example, because even if they choose to serve us, are we going to get the price gouging? And if you remember when COVID first came out, they were like, okay, so we're going to open the store. Meyer was like, we're going to open the stores up between this hour and this hour, only for senior citizens. And then on this hour and that hour, they can come in. So what's to say they're not going to pull that kind of crap? I mean, corporate entities. Well, we're not going to, who's to say that? Who's to say on the hours that you let us in, you got the expired meat out there? You understand what I mean? Or the rotting vegetables out there. And then when you open it up for the other people, I mean, just who's to say? But we are between a rock and a hard place. When's the next time we're going to own a gas station? Be honest. I would say never. When's the next time we're going to really own a real grocery store? I saw an article the other day, and I think it's in Indiana, where there's somebody, I think, what's my guy's name? That one attorney, Ben Crump, was congratulating someone for opening up the first Black American to have a Black-owned grocery store. But you know what? If he's not canning those canned goods and growing those vegetables and raising those farm animals, he's between a rock and a hard place too, and subject to, if the people he gets his food from, if they're going to deliver to him as they should. So it's great that he's doing it, but it's a bigger picture. And second chances, boy, you really said something there. In the time of an emergency, what will happen?
Well, I know here we have 2 Black-owned grocery stores. They're on different sides of town, and we have some Black-owned gas stations too. Yeah, we have some old man Ralph. He been owning his gas station ever since I was real small, and a store. He has a corner store too. But it's not enough of them.
Right. Well,
it's not enough of.
Well, I wonder, do they need to talk to old man Ralph and say, hey, look, what do we need to do to make sure that, because if he's an old man, what do we need to do? Yeah. So what's
actually it was 3 of them, and I didn't even know until maybe about 6 years ago. I went to go get my windows tinted at this place, and the Black man he came out. I don't know if he partially owner or he owns the whole thing. And we was just talking, and he was like, "You from First Ward?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, my daddy." He said, "I'm from First Ward too." So I knew he was around a little younger than my dad. I said, "Yeah, my dad was James Williams. He did all the cement pouring in the neighborhood." He said, "Yeah, I know James." He said, "It was 3 of us. It was me, your daddy, and old man Ralph." He said, "You know old man Ralph?" I said, "Yes, I know him." He said, "Your daddy and old man Ralph in the 70s was buying property." He said, "And I was buying cars." He said, "My stupid self was buying cars while they was buying property." He's saying, "And you see all that money old man Ralph got, and them white folks out there begging him, offering him $1 and $2 million for his he had little clubs down the street called Washington. It's in the Heights, Washington Heights. Well, he used to rent them out back in the back in the 80s. He used to rent them out to Mexican. They make them out of cantinas, but he never sold any of his property.
Right.
Bought them for a little or nothing in the 70s. Now they worth $2 and $3 and $4 million now, because they regentrifying that area right there. But he won't sell. He will not sell.
I'll tell you
he's a real old man.
I'll tell you what, for that real old man, probably the most blessed thing that could happen is he have a conversation with somebody, some other Black American in that neighborhood, whether it be a group or whatever, and figure out how they can transfer that ownership to another Black group, so that
area is done.
Well, but I'm just saying, I mean, that part doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, if he's a Black man and he owns it, if he's an old man, let's say he's about to retire or thinking about, closing up shop, that gas station is still going to transfer to somebody. So how do
his children, his daughter takes over everything. She works the places, the food place that he have.
Okay,
she
good.
Works the cantina. Yeah, his daughter takes over everything. She got her hands, and she learned everything.
Okay, good. Just as long as, I mean, my inquiry is more so of, to keep that business open and available for Black people so that we can at least say, hey, we do have, there is an existence of one Black owned gas station or one or two Black owned grocery stores or whatever, as opposed to just letting them die out with, the original owner at this point. But, we got a lot of work to do, y'all. And one person on Twitter and YouTube trying to advance the cause, it's really going to take all of us. And that being said, if my YouTube channel's in the Jumbotron, if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe and stay subscribed. The whole objective is to get these conversations into the algorithm so that we can begin to get combined voices and additional voices adding to the discourse. Helping to change the mindset and the view of how we need to move forward. I didn't know about Dr. Claud Anderson in 2001. I wish I had. I would have been reading it and talking about it and all this and that in 2/3. But, it's 2023 and everything he's talked about in this book and previous books. I mean, shit, he said it. It's going down. It's going down. So, is there a chance? And before we close, I'm just going to go back to this spot because this really hit me this morning when I was reading. Again, the book was copywritten in 2001. Dr. Claud Anderson had a game plan for us to have our shit together by 2005. And let me just read this again. He says here, any acts or issues that do not result in greater ownership and control of economic and political resources for Black Americans do not fit the PowerNomics template and should be given a low priority. Third, the group vision sets a timetable, the year 2005. This is a short but workable timetable if we commit ourselves to the task. Any shorter period is unrealistic. Any longer period, and we would be much too far into a permanent underclass status for any actions to make a real difference. Now, this book, again, copyrighted in 2001, his game plan was that we would have our shit together by 2005. Anything before 2005, that's unrealistic. But any longer period, and we would be much too far into a permanent underclass status for any action to make a real difference. And so again, that question on the table is, what do we do? It's 2023. What do we do? Do we Otis Redding the situation and just sit on the dock of the bay and watch the tides roll away? Or do we fight? What do we do? You know what I'm saying? I mean, so we can't just sit here and let it happen. We got to keep doing the damn thing. So I don't know. I want to thank everybody for pulling up. Go ahead, Miss D. You were going to say something? Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to tell Miss Lisa good morning.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to everybody in the room. Please share the space. And again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So I do want to thank everyone for pulling up and contributing to the conversation. Appreciate it so much. That's it. That is, let's see. Was somebody about to come up? Because I was going to let you come up before we wrap up. If you want to come up, pull up, hit the mic again. I'll give you a couple minutes. Who was that wanted to come up? No one? Okay.
I didn't see it.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, let's see. Here it is. Yeah, Miss Lisa. All right. Hey, Miss Lisa.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for pulling up. What's going on? How are you this morning?
I'm all right. Small stuff, but see, I caught that. See, I'm trying to learn some things.
Sure enough.
And, I'm trying to learn. I know about Dr. Claud Anderson. I'm very, intelligent. Mm-hmm. But you know what? And this is going to be hard, Miss D. You already know. You got my back, yo. I love this lady. I love you, Miss D, because you see it. You see it. And I need to stop reacting to it because it's so much bigger than me. And I was just having a few issues with my podcast. I just started one. Mm-hmm. I've been on it. This is last week was our 23rd episode. Mm-hmm. And it's called Be More Part. And I just feel like I'm kind of stagnated. 2 weeks ago, I spoke about being a freeman. I said, I'm tired of hiding my tongue. Mm-hmm. And then, it was like almost I was vilified. The next week, the guy on there, he said he heard a lot because I said I was a freeman. And that wasn't a very good show. Then we went to somewhere else, supposed to promote, and he put us in danger. That's what I felt. I'm not going to go into detail. The way that was done, it made me rethink everything. And not only did that, me so paying attention to my surroundings, I didn't pay attention to that curve and I stepped off it wrong. 58, bro, even though, sir, it hurt and I'm still in pain by it. But what's been happening is God talking to me. And I see, Ms. D stands on business, and I'm just trying to find a way. And, it seems like, they always try to pick on me because I'm emotional. Mm. But very emotional. Yeah, it hurts when people purposely try to hurt you because you don't understand or whatever. And I just need to know, I need to run in that lane. Mm-hmm. Pro positive people, because everybody around you ain't good for you. And I just need a better atmosphere. I left Twitter alone for a while because of STT and Adios. They was going crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't take it. It started messing with my mental health. But I know it's a way, and I want to use the little bit I have. We got 423 subscribers, and it's called Be More Part, but the show name is Our Opinion. And he wants a guest every week. If I'm saying we can have this guest every week, but people need to know our opinion on what's happening, and they're not getting that.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. Months. Well, let me do it like this, Miss Lisa. And I feel your pain, feel your frustration, and that's something we could certainly talk about. I'll be sure to reach out to you as soon as we wrap up this one, wrap up this particular episode. Just at this point, I'm going to tell you to stay encouraged. Keep your head up, and it sounds to me like you have, you've realized one thing, which is to, be mindful of the people that you surround yourself with. That is important. And let me make sure that I'm gonna follow you right now and make sure I reach out to you once we wrap this show up. But again, listen, you guys, be sure to, that's it. That is the podcast. Okay. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, Replay Gang, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. Also, let me shout out Black Empowerment for pulling up into space. Appreciate you a lot, sir. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, Replay Gang. Leave a comment. I want to hear from you. And until next time, y'all, we will see you when we see you. Welcome to the Only Male Cruz Show, the We Own Your Head podcast. Discussing topics that make you say, how and where can we improve as a society? From a Black American's perspective. Copyright disclaimer regarding fair use is in full effect. The views and opinions expressed in this show, you guessed it, they're all mine. Catch this live, be ready to speak. This is a call-in show. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, Replay Gang, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. Let's go to work.